watched my daughter's best friend try to murder her in the woods. 19 times she stabbed her. And when the police asked her why, she said a man with no face told her to do it. My name is Greg. I'm from Waukesha, Wisconsin, a quiet suburb about 20 miles west of Milwaukee. I'm a respiratory therapist at a local hospital. My wife Sarah works at the public library. We have one daughter, Peyton. She just turned 12. I never thought I'd be telling this story. I never thought I'd have to explain to strangers how my little girl almost died, and how the girl who tried to kill her used to sleep in our guest room, used to eat pancakes at our kitchen table every Sunday morning. But here I am, because some things you need to talk about, even when they don't make sense, especially when they don't make sense. It started in 5th grade. September 2013.
Artlist.io.
Peyton came home talking about this girl in her class. Morgan Geyser. She's really smart, Dad, Peyton said. She knows everything about mythology and monsters and stuff. I remember thinking it was sweet. Kids finding their people, you know? Peyton had always been shy.
Music licensing.
Seeing her light up about a
reimagined.
new friend. It made Sarah and I happy. Morgan started coming over after school. Quiet girl, dark hair, big eyes behind these thick glasses. She'd sit in Peyton's room for hours and they'd just draw, create these elaborate stories together. What are you drawing, kiddo? I asked one day, poking my head into Peyton's room. Morgan looked up at me, didn't smile, just stared for a second too long. Slenderman, she said flatly. Who? He's this tall man with no face, Peyton explained, more animated. He watches people. He takes children into the woods. I laughed. Sounds like something from a horror movie. It's from the internet, Morgan said, her voice completely monotone. But he's real. I glanced at Sarah that night in bed. These kids and their creepypasta stuff, I said. Remember when we were scared of Bloody Mary?
Artlist.io.
Sarah smiled, but there was something in her eyes. A flicker of concern. Morgan's intense, isn't she? She said quietly. I shrugged it off. By winter, something had shifted. Peyton started having nightmares. She'd wake up at 2, 3 in the morning crying. When I'd go to her
Music
room,
licensing
she'd be sitting up in
reimagined.
bed, staring at her window. What's wrong, sweetheart? I thought I saw someone outside, she'd whisper. Someone tall. It's just the trees, Peyton. The branches casting shadows. But even I could feel it. That prickle on the back of your neck. That ancient instinct that tells you you're being watched. Morgan came over less frequently. When she did, she was different. More withdrawn. She'd mutter to herself sometimes.
Artlist.io.
Peyton told us Morgan had another friend now. Anissa Wire. They'd sit together at lunch, whispering, looking at Peyton's phone. What are you girls always looking at? Sarah asked one afternoon. The Slenderman wiki, Peyton said casually. It tells you everything about him.
Reimagined.
Where he lives. How to become his proxy. His what? His proxy. Someone who serves him. Who does what he wants. Sarah's face went pale. Peyton, you know that's not real, right? It's just a story people made up online. Peyton nodded. But the look in her eyes, it wasn't certainty. It was hope. Hope that her mother was right. I should have paid more attention. In February, Peyton's behavior changed. She became clingy. Didn't want to go to sleepovers anymore. Didn't want to be alone with Morgan and Anissa. Did something happen? I asked her one night. She picked at her dinner. Morgan keeps talking about him. About Slender Man. She says we have to prove
Music
we're
licensing
loyal. Loyal to who? It's just a story, Peyton. I know, Dad. I know. She looked up at me, and I saw fear. Real fear. But Morgan doesn't think it's a story. And neither does Anissa. I called Morgan's mother that week. Her name was Angie. We'd met at a few school events. Nice woman. Divorced. Raising Morgan alone. Hey Angie, it's Greg. Peyton's dad. Oh, hi Greg. How are you? Good.
Music licensing
Listen, I wanted to ask,
reimagined.
Has Morgan mentioned anything about this Slenderman thing? This internet character? There was a long pause. Yeah, Angie said slowly. She's kind of obsessed with it, actually. I've tried to limit her screen time, but she's got some mental health stuff going on. We're seeing a therapist. They think it might be early onset schizophrenia. My stomach dropped. Oh, I didn't know.
Artlist.io.
It's okay. We're managing it. She's on medication. But yeah, she talks about him like he's real. Like he's in our house. I thanked her and hung up. I should have done more. I should have kept Morgan away from Peyton. But I didn't want to be that parent. The one who judges.
Music
the one
licensing
who excludes.
reimagined.
God, I wish I had been. May 30th, 2014. Friday night. Morgan was sleeping over. It was the end of the school year. The girls wanted to celebrate. Sarah made them popcorn, and they watched a movie in the living room while I graded some work from the CPR training class I taught that week. Around 10, I heard them giggling, whispering, "You girls should get to bed soon," I called out.
Artlist.io.
Okay, Mr. Littner, Morgan said. I remember that moment. Her voice. How normal it sounded. I went to bed before them. Sarah and I turned in around 11. We figured the girls would stay up another hour or so, then crash. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6:30.
Music licensing
Early for a weekend, but I'd planned to go for a run. I passed by Peyton's room. The door was closed. Something felt wrong. I can't explain it. It was just quiet. Too quiet. I opened the door slowly. Morgan and Anissa were both asleep in sleeping bags on the floor. But Peyton's bed was empty. Peyton! I called softly. Nothing. I checked the bathroom. Nothing. Sarah! I called down the hall, my
Music
voice rising.
licensing reimagined.
Sarah, where's Peyton? My wife stumbled out of our bedroom, confused. What? What do you mean? Isn't she in her room? Morgan and Anissa were both asleep in sleeping bags on the floor. But Peyton's bed was empty. Peyton! I called softly. Nothing. I checked the bathroom. Nothing. Sarah! I called down the hall, my voice rising. Sarah, where's Peyton? My wife stumbled out of our bedroom,
Artlist.io.
confused. What? What do you mean? Isn't she in her room? I was about a quarter mile into the woods when I heard a voice. Weak. Distant. Help! I froze. Peyton! Dad! I ran toward the sound. Through the trees. Over fallen logs.
Music licensing
My shoes slipping on
reimagined.
wet leaves. And then I saw her. She was lying on the ground near a creek. On her side, her shirt was soaked with blood. Dark, dark red. Almost black. Oh my God! Oh my God, Peyton. I dropped to my knees beside her. Her face was white. Her lips were blue. Dad, she whispered. Morgan. Morgan did this. There was blood everywhere. Her hands. Her
Artlist.io.
jeans. Pooling beneath her on the dirt. I pressed my hands against her stomach, trying to stop the bleeding. But there were too many wounds. I could see slashes on her arms. Her chest. Her legs. Stay with me, baby. Stay with me. I pulled out my phone with
Music
shaking,
licensing
blood-covered hands. Called 911 again. My daughter has been stabbed. We're in David's Park, near the creek. She's bleeding so much. The operator's voice was steady. Professional. Sir, help is on the way. Can you tell me how many wounds? I don't know. I don't know. God, there's so many. Peyton grabbed my wrist. Her grip was weak. Dad, she said she had to. She said Slenderman told her to.
Music
I stared at my
licensing
daughter,
reimagined.
at her eyes, at the confusion and pain and betrayal in them. What? She said if she killed me, he'd let her be with him. In his mansion. In the woods. My brain couldn't process it. Morgan. Sweet, quiet Morgan who ate pancakes at our table. Who drew pictures with my daughter. Who I trusted. She tried to kill you? Peyton nodded, tears streaming down her face. She told me to lie down.
Artlist.io.
She said it would be fast. And then she and Anissa, they just kept stabbing me. over and over. I felt rage, pure animal rage, but I also felt terror, because my daughter had crawled almost a mile through these woods. She dragged herself up from that creek.
Music licensing
She'd survived 19
reimagined.
stab wounds. 19. And Morgan and Anissa had left her there to die. Sirens wailed in the distance. Stay with me, Peyton. You hear those sirens? They're coming. You're going to be okay. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed it. Peyton survived. The knife had missed her heart by less than a millimeter. She'd been stabbed 19 times. Her liver, her pancreas, her stomach. One wound came so close to a major artery that the surgeon told us later. Another fraction of an inch, and she would have bled out in those woods. But she didn't. She crawled. She fought. She survived. Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire were arrested that same day.
Music
A
licensing
police officer found them walking along Interstate 94, about 5 miles from the park. They were carrying a knife, covered in blood. When the police asked them why they did it, Morgan looked up calmly and said, "We had to prove ourselves to Slenderman." They'd been planning it for months, reading about him, learning about his proxies. They believed if they killed Peyton, this fictional internet character would accept them, would make them part of his world. Two 12-year-old girls tried to murder their best friend because of a story they read online. The trial was long, painful. Morgan was diagnosed with early-onset schizophrenia, Anissa with shared delusional disorder. Both were found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. They're in psychiatric institutions now. They'll be there for decades. And Peyton? She's 15 now. She's in therapy. She still has nightmares. She still has scars. But she's alive. I think about that morning a lot. About how close we came to losing her. About how I let Morgan into our home. About how I didn't see the signs. Sarah and I don't talk about it much anymore. It's too painful. But sometimes late at night, I'll wake up and walk past Peyton's room. I'll open the door just to make sure she's there. Breathing. Safe. Because now I know. Evil isn't always a stranger in a dark alley. Sometimes it's a 12-year-old girl with glasses who believes in monsters. Sometimes it's sitting at your kitchen table, and you never see it coming. My daughter survived, but the world we lived in before May 31st, 2014, that world died in those woods. And it's never coming back.